Good morning, everyone. I'm Gayla Wilson, Program Manager for Volunteer Houston. So here's a few things that we've been doing since January. So while we were planning for what we thought would be a really busy spring of corporate managed projects, COVID-19 hit, and Volunteer Houston, as well as our entire Interfaith Ministries organization, had to shift priorities. How to continue to feed our 4,400 homebound disabled adults and senior citizens, assisting refugees with essential needs, and recruiting volunteers to meet the shifting demands of nonprofit agencies in the Houston area. So on April the 6th, we hosted a webinar for more than 70 nonprofit leaders to discuss the concept of virtual volunteerism. What is it? How does it work? What role does radical trust and radical flexibility play when you're shifting from in-person to virtual opportunities? We immediately made changes to how nonprofits could post volunteer needs by adding COVID-19 response and virtual volunteer designators, which also help individuals who just want to volunteer specific to the pandemic. Luckily, we've had 526 volunteer responses to 18 nonprofit agencies, such as Attack Poverty, Target Hunger, and Wesley Community Center to help pass out food. Operation Gratitude and Generation Serve posted opportunities to make cards for first responders and medical staff. And Harbor Hospice asked volunteers to make tuck-in calls to their residents so they could have someone to chat with them for a few minutes in the evening, and then our own census phone bank opportunity. Our Meals on Wheels program shifted from daily hot meal delivery to weekly frozen meals to minimize exposure between our drivers and clients. But our clients are also still getting phone calls from staff to check in on their health, as well as for the socialization, because so many were isolated before the pandemic. And many times the Meals on Wheels driver could be their only engagement with someone. In addition, our Operation Impact, which traditionally has provided a week's worth of food prior to the start of the hurricane season, shifted early. And so we've been able to deliver 2 weeks of shelf-stable meals. Our Refugee Services program set up an emergency assistance fund to assist clients who've lost their jobs due to the pandemic with additional rent assistance, as well as other essential needs. One of the best impacts has been the connection of Erin Levian to Houston tweet Kika Davis. Kika reached out to Erin as she and her husband wanted to start volunteering on Fridays. They've since registered with Volunteer Houston and recently signed up at the Beacon to pack lunches for the homeless. Volunteer Houston is so grateful to Twitter for the opportunity to have been part of such a historic day for their organization and the city of Houston. Your support of Volunteer Houston allows us to cultivate relationships between hundreds of nonprofits and tens of thousands of volunteers to transcend single volunteer opportunities into capacity building and program expanding initiatives that meet the true needs of our local nonprofits. Thank you, Twitter for Good, for continuing to give back through your day of virtual volunteering. I'm going to turn this over to Gracie Kavnar and Tyler at Recipe for Success.
Greetings from Hope Farms, minutes from downtown Houston. It's a little different from when hundreds of tweets from around the world had joined us for Twitter for Good in January. We thank you guys so much for being here. Lots of changes with the pandemic. But first, I want to show you what y'all did. For the ones who weren't with us in January, y'all helped build these 6 new raised beds. Look, they're full of food. I can't wait to taste those tomatoes. They're going to be amazing. But that's just one of many things that y'all did. You know, Hope Farms is a program of Recipe for Success Foundation, a nonprofit I started 15 years ago to combat childhood obesity. And what Hope Farms does is address the food inequities that are throughout the country in communities considered food deserts. So we are sitting in Sunnyside, just south of downtown Houston, in a food desert. Here we grow affordable food for our neighbors, and we're also normally a place where the whole city gathers to share meals, to celebrate the power of meals, to build community and family. And you guys helped us build that out. You know what? Even though we can't invite people to our table right now, we are still growing food. So take a look, acres and acres of food that we are producing for our neighbors. We have a drive-through market now, and people can order produce online. Come see us at the market and pick it up. Maintaining social distancing, following all the rules. So thank y'all so much for helping us make this happen. But hey, I know what you really want to do is see your Twitter for Good mascot, Miss Hope. You met her when she was just a little baby, and she's kind of a tweener now, right? And this is Tyler, Hope's adoptive father.
Hey guys.
I'm gonna pass him the mic. You can talk.
Yeah. Hey guys, great to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Again, I'm Tyler Froberg. I met most of you when all of you were out here. And as Miss Gracie said, this is Hope. I'm sure most of you remember Hope and her incredible story. She was rescued from the woods when she was just a few hours old, and we brought her here to Hope Farms and bottle fed her, as most of you got to see when you were here. But there's been a lot happened since then. Not only is Hope doing great, living her best life out here at Hope Farms, she also got a sister. Her sister's name is Harmony. She's a beautiful dairy goat, and they spend every day together out here on the farm, eating fresh grass, frolicking in our non-growing areas, enjoying before all of this, all of our visitors, and they will certainly be ready to enjoy visitors after we kind of get back to normal and explore what this new life looks like. Not only did Harmony join the team shortly after y'all visited us, we also had some new special friends come into our lives.
Let's go see those babies.
So shortly after y'all joined us here on the farm, we hatched some of our own chicken eggs from our chickens, and we built them basically a mobile chicken castle. And so it's called a mobile chicken coop. And the new ladies went in there on Earth Day. And so it's a beautiful coop on wheels. It gets moved every day, and they're also living their best life. They're also in the teenage phase, just like our goats here. But every day they get to eat fresh grass. They get to eat fresh bugs.
They get to visit with Hope.
They always get to visit with their friends.
And, Hope has her own, sorry to say, Instagram handle. I know that we're all on Twitter too. Hope's not on Twitter yet. She's on Instagram, Hope the Goat. But we're hoping that you might think about, for Throwback Thursday, hashtagging Hope Farms HTX and Hope the Goat, and we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
We would love actually to invite you back to Hope Farms anytime you're in the Houston area. But in the meantime, just keep up with us. Don't be strangers. We'll keep you up with what we're doing to grow food and celebrate healthy food. And soon we'll be able to invite our neighbors back to the table. In the meantime, maybe we should show you what are we growing in the raised beds, Tyler, that they just paid?
Yeah. So as a great first crop into our raised beds, we're going to be growing some beautiful black-eyed peas. Black-eyed peas are a staple in our Southern cuisine. Not only are they a staple in our Southern cuisine, they're also a great nitrogen fixer. They're a good first crop in our soil. They help improve the soil. So we're going to be really excited to have those coming on later in the summer.
So yum, yum. Now over to our friends at Goldberg Tower. Tanya?
Can you all see us?
Yep, we can see you.
Hey! Hello, everyone. This is just an example of what our tweets that came, the 100 tweets that were here were welcome to. It's a little different. We're at a senior living facility here in Houston, Texas. So for our protection, we do have to wear protective gear to make sure that everyone is okay. But I wanted to show you all just the article. We were so touched by everything that you all did to help us. We made you front page news of our newsletter, Tower Power, with all of our wonderful tweets led by the great Aya. And here we have the assistant manager, Maria, as well as the president of our resident council, Mr. Lowe. And some of the things that you all did while you were here were hanging up pictures around the property. And one of the most important things was really socializing with our residents, which they absolutely loved. We even had one of the tweets in Mandarin playing bingo and announcing in Mandarin as well. So being able to communicate with this multicultural property was absolutely amazing, and it touched our hearts so much. So much so that Mr. Lowe also wrote an article within the Tower Power, and I just wanted him to share a little bit with you all.
Hello, everyone. For me, I think the valuable spirit of the volunteers embodied in Twitter is like this. I mean, its distinguished features lie in 1. Showing concern for the communities. It was a proper example in this aspect that Twitter paid a visit to our towers, developed recreational activities, provided diet service, offered necessary assistance, and maintained closer ties with the residents. 2. The being happy to lend help to others. As volunteers, they will not know the residents in our towers, but out of their wishes to offer help to others and sense of responsibility, they constantly take part in the work of volunteers. Indeed, they are always ready to help. 3. Encouraging the spirit of volunteers. Being volunteers is a kind of healthy social trend. It was rare and commendable. What Twitter did here was to promote such a spirit and then carry it forward. Finally, made volunteer spirit pass on from generation to generation through Twitter.
Thank you all so much. We are so grateful for you. And one of the things, and I just wanted to reiterate what Mr. Liu wrote with this beautiful article, is that you all touched their hearts so much to even come in and participate and to be a part of who they are, get to know them, talk to them, communicate with them. And it's something that has just carried on again in this beautiful library that you all helped rearrange. They've actually been using it while they're under the shelter in place order, and the books that were recommended, they have been utilized. Or do you want to say anything?
Well, I just wanted to tell you guys thank you so much for all the help you guys give us, and I hope we can see you guys soon.
Yes. Stay safe.
Bye.